Good evening and welcome to you all. Welcome to episode 4 of The Latest with me, your host, Rob McLennan. I hope you are all healthy and well tonight, wherever you may be. Tonight, I interview Simon Kingsley-Holmes. I met Simon some years ago on the Dunedin stand-up comedy circuit. He left Dunedin 18 months ago and now lives in Christchurch, and I do miss his streams of consciousness on stage and his deliciously daft British sense of humour. If you do get a chance to see him, I thoroughly recommend it. You won't be disappointed. I interviewed Simon twice earlier today, and on both occasions he is improvising characters. He has little to no knowledge of who he is until the interviews actually begin. The first interview puts Simon in the hot seat as a well-known person, and on this occasion it's Tony Robbins, the inspirational motivational speaker. Simon only learns this at the very beginning. Right, well, I'm delighted to have this next guest on the show tonight. As you can see, a very prominent figure. If I asked you who's the first person you think of when I say motivational speaking, chances are you'd say Anthony Robbins. Here he is. It's Anthony Robbins. Thanks for joining us tonight, Anthony.
Thank you for having me.
Shall I call you Tony? Is it Tony or Anthony?
I would prefer you can call me. Which I would prefer if you called me Thony. Thony.
Okay, it's evolved.
My full name is Anthony.
Yeah,
it's a pet hate of mine when people call me Tony.
Right, Thony. Okay. So, Thony, and I know you probably feel like you get a little bit sick of being called just a motivational speaker because you do so much else besides that. Perhaps it's being a bit reductive calling you a motivational speaker. How would you yourself describe yourself?
I would call myself a motivational listener. I think even when I'm standing near people not saying much, I'm motivating them, by sort of just standing, with facing them, but with my head slightly askance so that my ear is prominent. And I think that motivates people to sort of say more to me, like go away, or, are you getting this bus? Or things like that. I feel that motivational speaker is it's very one track in terms of what I do. That's quite good there, actually. It started to look like some ears, which is motivational in itself, So, yes. Motivational speaker, just motivational, all round, really.
All-rounder, yeah. That makes sense, actually, because, obviously you're very well known for being such an excellent public speaker. But as you say, you do in your shows, which are legendary, of course, you do a lot of listening. You pluck people out of the audience and, you listen to their personal stories. And, So, you're also known for dealing with a lot of other celebrities and helping them improve their lives. Can you pluck out a couple of examples of well-known people you've worked with over the years?
Well, I'd say an early one, very early actually, was Napoleon Bonaparte. My career goes back quite far. A lot of people don't really like to talk about this. I don't like to talk about it, but I'm going to. When we first, I remember when he first started out, and he was this young, sort of scruffy Corsican guy. He was there in France, and you know what the French are like. They're either incredibly liberal or they're incredibly racist, and they were going for the latter option with him. Not really. He felt set back a lot by his Corsicanness. And I was there, and we were at a bus stop, and as I say, I'm a very good motivational listener. And he was having a bit of stomach trouble. His hand was sort of there like that, and I said, "Oh, that's a good stance you've got there. You really nailed that one." And he said, "Thank you very much." That's the first nice thing anyone's ever said to me. I said, "Well, I just like to notice these things when a man's touching his stomach or just touching himself generally. I like to notice that at bus stops." So he started to edge away. I said, no, hear me out. And I really sort of said, do you know what I think would be a good idea? Trafalgar. That will be, you should take a fleet of ships there and just try and take on the British Navy. And he goes, oh, thanks for that. And I hear he did very well. I was very proud of that one. He didn't really speak to me, but I don't like to, take the praise. I don't like to, mop it up for myself. I'm quite happy. No. The biggest award is seeing them do so well.
Yeah, well, and history proves that the point. But historically, now I'm no expert in history, of course, but Napoleon would take us back a few years now, wouldn't it?
A long time ago.
Make you a significantly older person than I thought.
Yeah, well, just good grooming, as you can see.
Right. Yeah. Well, absolutely. Gosh. Well, you've been around for a significant amount of time, and you certainly a bit like discussion I had with Millen Beard a couple of weeks ago, where he of course invented the elixir of youth, and is twice as old as he looks. So maybe have you been borrowing some of his magic potion?
Well, I flatter myself, but yes, no. It's just a good, healthy dose of vitamin C every day, and in the eyes mostly, and then that's it does. It's like goop, but not illegal.
So, as in, it's a spray, is it?
Vitamin
C spray.
No, it's just hitting myself in the face with citrus fruits quite vigorously, and then
really,
even if they don't burn, the tears will soak up a bit of zest, and then you can just sort of mop those up, rub them back in again, and yeah.
Gosh, the audience for my show are getting good value for money, partly because they don't pay any money, but also, these tips are worth the price of admission. So I hope the audience appreciates, this free information they're getting, because obviously some of your shows can cost in the thousands. So it's wonderful of you to be so generous today. I almost called you Tony there. Sorry about that. Now, you're also well known for your inspirational quotes. I'd like to run through some of these, if you don't mind. You once said, the only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself. Would you like to expand on that for us?
Yes, certainly, by all means. I think people have always said I'm good with common sense, and I've always said that if you just stand around, if you sit at home telling yourself stories, you're not outside going to a shop and getting something, are you? If you want to get sausages, but you instead stay at home and recite in your own head the story of Rumpelstiltskin, that's no good to anyone. That's no good to you. It's not helping you advance. So I think it's a common sense thing, really, without wanting to be reductive in any way.
That's powerful stuff. And what about this one? What did you mean when you said, if you get bubble gum stuck in your hair, remove the hair? Remove the hair, you remove the gum. Remove the gum, you remove the problem.
Yes, I think I think this says a lot about life, really. I think of the bubble gum as the obstacle and the hair as the solution. And I think that when one encounters bubblegum in life, one can't help but think, this is an issue and it needs to be dealt with now. And I can either chew on it or I can remove a clump of my hair. And I don't care if people say, you look like a rubbish monk. That's not going to stop me. That, if anything, has already said, there's another path in life. I could become a monk, and I could get better. And apparently now I'm rubbish. I could get better and be a monk. And I think that obviously shows that, the bubble gum, a problem becomes a solution.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because, as I say, you remove one problem with removing the gum, but you've created potentially a new one by removing tufts of your hair. But so what you're saying is that then becomes something that you can work with in itself.
Yeah. Yes. I think everyone should remove tufts of hair. If you see a child, a teenager who's worried about things at school, they're worried about their appearance, they're concerned about what other people think of them, just remove tufts of their hair, and that will do them the world of good. Okay.
And what about this one? Don't touch those, they're for Nana. What were you referring to there?
Those were my granddad's bollocks, and I didn't know that had been recorded at the time. So yeah, apologies about that. I didn't realise that had been slipped out. That's piracy again.
Yeah, I have a pretty extensive team of researchers, so we do get access to all sorts of information and recordings. So
they can record everything nowadays.
Caught my attention. I know. Nothing is sacred. Nothing's private. You do have to be careful, don't you?
Even my granddad's bollocks.
So what's next for? Yeah. Poor old granddad. Probably blissfully unaware of what was going on. No, so what's next for Tony Robbins? Any big projects coming up? I hear you've got something rather huge in the pipeline, so to speak.
Yes, bigger ears, more motivational listening.
Right, yes, bigger ears. Well, yeah. Excellent. No, it's been wonderful to have you on, and again, I appreciate your time because you're a busy man, and time is money.
Yeah.
But Tony Robbins, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Big pleasure, big plan.
My second interview with Simon is for a job interview. The difference here is that this time Simon won't know the context at all, at least not at the beginning. He may work it out as we go along, but I won't tell him at the start. He has no idea what job he's interviewing for. I'm going to tell you, though, so that you know. Here, he is being interviewed for the role of funeral director and embalmer. Welcome to the job interview. My name's Dennis Quarterly, and I'm on the board of directors. And your name is again, sorry?
Simon Kingsley-Holmes.
Simon, thank you for joining us. Look, this job is, well, it's not everyone's cup of tea, is it? It's quite a peculiar one, I guess, in many aspects. I gather have you done this kind of work before?
I could say I've done plenty of jobs that are not people's cup of tea, because obviously, as you can tell from the accent, I'm big with cups of tea, and I can spot when something is not someone's cup of tea. And I like to think to myself, would I drink that when others wouldn't?
That's a good answer. And so, what brings you to us today? What attracts you to this kind of work?
The peculiarity. I was once an octopus sexer, and I thought, well, things don't get much more peculiar than that. So, where does one go from there? One, seeks out new challenges. And well, I won't say I'd done that when I applied for the octopus sexing, which is, they don't offer school degrees in that. So, that was very much learning on the job. I like learning on the job. But I also like to bring passion and a desire to learn more to these sorts of things. So, again, it's not my cup of tea, but it might be a female octopus. So,
Okay. So you finished that job, I gather, the octopus sexing job?
Yes. They, as it turns out, they ran out of octopuses. So.
Oh, okay. So out of your control sort of situation. Yeah. And so what scares you most about the job that you're applying for?
I'd have to say not getting it. You know, it would be such a privilege to work in this job, and I think what scares me most, in fact, I have to confess that I had a nightmare last night that I didn't get the job. It was embarrassing, but I lost control. But you know, I'm not scared of new challenges. If anything, I'm scared of something that may be too much the same.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's good. You've obviously got passion for the work and a desire to get the role. So that's something that's really important. What else is important is obviously the role is very varied. It's a varied role. What do you see is perhaps the most important skill that you need to bring to it?
Well, if it's varied, I think one needs to be able to work as an individual and also in a team. And so, you know, even if it was chimney sweep, how can I work in a team? Or if it was crowd work, how can I work on my own? I always think that, you know, one needs to consider the opposite option when doing these things, and it varies things up. You know, living in a parallel universe helps as well to, you know, think up, you know, various options, consider one's options.
Oh, that's good. That's excellent again, because obviously, as you say, there will be times when you're working on your own, and there'll be times when you're dealing with customers, for lack of a better word, very sensitively, and then there'll be times in between, you know, when you're perhaps in small groups of people. So that's part of the variety of the role. Can you describe a time when you've had to deal with customers very sensitively in terms of their emotions?
Yes, I was doing some. We were sampling home electroshock therapy, and we were actually out on the street, just offering free samples. And obviously, that's quite. You know, that's quite a big thing to have to ask people. So you have to put people at their ease and say, "Would you mind if I put these two things on your head and sent hundreds of volts through your body?" Just to see how you feel about it, see if you like it. Is it your thing? So obviously, you know, that's quite a big thing. So I would say to you know, have a bit of a joke with them, you know, saying things like, "This might shock you," or, you know.
Yes. That eases attention, doesn't it? That sort of thing. That's brilliant. That's gold, you know, when it comes to this kind of work. Where, you know, you don't know how people are going to respond. Look, did you have any? Actually, one question I wanted to ask is:
to be honest, with all due respect, normally you when you're selling electroshock therapy, you can tell how people are going to respond. It's usually sort of.
Yes. I imagine you would have got a lot of that. Did you have any you know, serious moments where you had to get medical help or anything like that?
No, they checked my medical records before I took the job on.
I was more referring to the victims of your.
I don't like to call them victims. I prefer to call them customers.
Excellent. Good answer again. Look, is there anything you need to know about us, about our company? Do you have any questions for us?
Yes, I was just in terms of do you you know, do you offer electroshock therapy at all? It's not a deal breaker. I'd just like to know.
It's, to be honest, possibly a bit redundant in our field. Are you referring to, how would you use that in context with this particular role, do you think?
Oh, just
for
the
guests? Or?
No, just an end of year bonus or something like that.
Well, we could look into it, I suppose. I mean, I think that myself and I know the rest of the directors on the board are very open-minded about new technologies and how we can incorporate those into our service, because in this day and age, as you will be aware of, I'm sure, our services are often broadcast live to people who can't be at the the event on the day. Especially now, obviously with lockdown and everything, people can't physically be in the same room. So if we can bring electroshock therapy into that somehow, then I'm all ears. And probably a lot of hair sticking out as well, strands of hair, I would imagine. But look, that's, if you do get the role, then we can discuss that further and see what we can come up with.
That's exciting.
Do you have a driver's license?
I have a learner's license, although I'm going for my restricted very soon. So I know how to turn it on.
Okay, because really, you'll be needing to drive with the deceased in the back.
Well,
we only need someone who can drive slowly. So it's not really a big issue. As long as you can, reasonably comfortable steering a vehicle, you should be fine.
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think also, as I say, I'm good at improvising. So, I'm good at figuring things out on the job. So, that was a key strength.
Right, because are you new to embalming, or is it something you've dabbled with before?
I have actually made pickled eggs in the past. So I can even tell the difference between chip shop style pickled eggs and pub style pickled eggs. So I know different levels of pickling and embalming. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Also, I've had an alcoholic uncle.
Well,
so...
I guess there is. Ah, right. Well, that could come in handy, I suppose. Experience working with inebriated relatives. Yeah. Okay. Oh well, you're obviously up for the job and keen to learn on the job, which I think will be very, very important. Don't call us, we'll call you. No, but we probably will call you, Simon. I think the rest of the board are very impressed with what we've seen here today. So I think come Monday, you might be hearing from us. Thanks for coming, Simon. All the best.
Thank you very much for having me. And, just when it came to this job, I was really hoping I would kill it. So that's cheers.
Well, yes. Just watch your choice of words there, weren't you? Especially when you're around, grieving families.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we might see you, as I say, next week.
Thank you very much. Lovely to have spoken to you.